Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another Movies from the Sea review. This is a movie I don't have on DVD. I know I should have had this movie a long time ago, but it's a classic. It's one of the greatest '70s films ever made, and every movie that's had a shark pretty much afterwards pretty much owes their gratitude to this film, and that is Jaws. Yep, the original 1973 or 1974 film that still holds up to this very day, and I saw it a lot when I was a kid. I mean, did this movie scare me? In a way, 'cause I was still not afraid to go in the water even after I saw the film because I know a shark attack is not in my future. I don't go to the beach that much, but Jaws is a classic. I mean, no movie in the '70s, before Star Wars came out, was this profitable and this, iconic when it came to horror films that weren't like slasher films. Jaws pretty much set the boundaries for attack, creatures attacking in the sea, and it spawned films like Piranha and Orca and a bunch of other stuff. And it's a classic. Like I love this movie. This is one of the greatest Spielberg films he's ever made. You can never remake this movie because it will never be the same with CGI. The shark still looks great to this day, even over 30 years later, almost more than 40 years later, because it's been I think last year was the 40th anniversary, so it was in 1975, not 73. What was I saying? Anyway, Jaws, it has an awesome cast. You have Lorraine Gary, you got Roy Scheider, you have Richard Dreyfuss, you got Robert Shaw, and a bunch of other people. It's just, a fantastic movie, you know, with a shark that you don't see it for a while, but when you finally do see it, it's amazing. Like Roy Scheider's throwing the chunks into the water, and then he's smoking, and then he sees the shark. He's like, "Holy shit!" And the movie was pretty ballsy for the '70s. I mean, it was a very bloody film for a PG movie. Nowadays, it would just get a PG-13 or an R. And Jaws pretty much pushed the boundaries with what you can do in a PG film, especially at that time. And everything about the film, it's long, but you don't feel it because it's such an entertaining film. It's got the atmosphere, it's got that awesome score, dun, 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 which is fantastic by John Williams. You got the film is shot very well. The locations are real; they're not CG. It's real water. It's a real beach. It's real actors, and it's ballsy because they kill kids in this movie. Like one of the shark actually, the first victim is a young girl, and she gets just dragged left and right. If you've seen Jaws, you know what I'm talking about. This movie is a classic, and it should be seen to believe if you haven't seen it. And what can I say about Jaws? The poster is iconic with the mouth, the shark's mouth going up, and the swimmers right above him. And the way the shark dies, it blows up because Roy Scheider shoots a gas tank, it bites and blows it up, and it's just iconic. I just love this movie. I know I don't own it because well, it's been hard to find now recently, and for a cheap price. And but I still love the film. If they give it on TV, I watch it all the time, and I can always stream it here for free online because it's an easy movie to find. It's not like it's a very rare film that you can never find on DVD, Blu-ray, or just digitally download it. But it's a great movie. It's got a great cast. It's got memorable characters. Even when the slow parts when they're talking, you have interesting dialogue. You have a tense pacing. What the shark does. It's more what you don't see that's scary about it compared to the stuff that you do see. Robert Shaw's character getting bit in half, and not he doesn't get bitten off, but his body's getting swallowed by the shark, and his blood. He's like and just the sight of that is pretty frightening because sharks have teeth like sharp blades, and just the image of that alone could give people nightmares. That's why they don't go in the water because of this movie, and it shows. And every movie that's tried to be like this just fails. I mean, Deep Blue Sea is a good film, but it's not Jaws. And The Shallows that came out this year is basically they took the first scene of Jaws and just redid it and just have the whole film like that. And I'm like, it's kind of a pseudo remake, if you will. But this film, it has a male lead in a horror film, in a horror adventure film, which is rare now. Nowadays, it has to be a woman because apparently everything has to have women front and center, and that's not always true. In the '70s and '80s, they knew what they were doing. Okay, women had their place. but it wasn't always front and center. Lorraine Gary's in the movie, but she's not front and center in the film. Roy Scheider is as Brody. He kicks ass. He's a great character. He's a blue collar character. He's not a freaking supermodel or some foreigner who can't act. Wink, wink. And he's, Roy Scheider. I miss him. He was a great actor. I like Blue Thunder. I liked his part in the Punisher 2004 movie. Just a really good actor. He was great in Jaws 2, which I'm going to review next because I have this Jaws sequels apparently because it was cheap to find. But Jaws is a classic. This movie can't not be touched. You cannot remake this movie the same way. If you do, go fuck yourself, Hollywood, because you try to remake Ghostbusters and it failed because the original will always, always be better than the stuff that they remake now. Because even if the remake ends up being decent, it's never going to be top the original. Some of the remakes in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s did, but now it doesn't work. Stop trying to recreate nostalgia because we have nostalgia all around us. Look at my room. There's tons of nostalgia all around me. I don't need some new reboot of Jaws to shit on the original or the two sequels that I do like, Jaws 2 and Jaws 3D. Because Revenge can go fuck itself, but I love Jaws. I don't need a reboot. You cannot recapture this movie. It's a time capsule that will live forever. This movie is a classic. It made a ton of money. It deserved it. It was one of Spielberg's in my top 10 favorite Spielberg films that he's made that I saw as a kid. Because I loved this movie. I loved Hook. And I like other films that Spielberg's done. Jurassic Park. This was years before Jurassic Park. And the effects still hold up. Can't say the shark looks fake. If it was some CGI shark, it would just be laughable. But hey, we have Sharknado for that. That's why I can thank Jaws for Sharknado, because if it wasn't for Jaws, that concept would never have existed. But thank you, Jaws, for being a great freaking movie. Thanks Spielberg for that. I can thank him for this one film because he set a standard for this. And every movie that has a killer shark is thanks to Jaws. And what else can I say? I love this movie. It's a great film. Watch it, rewatch it, keep the memory alive. Don't ever turn your back on this movie. Don't ever petition to have a remake because we don't need it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Jaws. It's a great freaking movie. It's a little long in the tooth. I think it's like over 2 hours long because it's a Spielberg movie. But when you get through it, it's worth it. And it's worth seeing all of it with friends and family because, it's iconic. But anyway, thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys are awesome. I love doing these videos. I know I'm lying down because I'm really tired. I did a lot of stuff today and, yesterday, I should say. And, my parents are coming back from vacation, so I want to say hi to them. I miss them a lot. And I don't always want my personal life, documented here, but, it's important to me. So I want to share that with you guys. What's important to me is important to me. I don't take stuff for granted like friends and family. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. And the next review will be Jaws 2, an underrated sequel that I do like. So stay tuned for that.